Hey guys, welcome back to Sun Crypto. In today's content now we'll talk about BTC. We'll take a look at BTC once again on a 3D basis, on the weekly time frame, and on a monthly basis, right? So we'll talk about Ether. We already got the Ether merge and all that good stuff. So we'll take a look at what type of price action we could anticipate regarding the Ether BTC chart. Are we going to be pushing to the upside, or are we going to be dumping back down to 5 to 4% support and all that good stuff, right? So now let's go ahead and start up with the 3D time frame, right? So our main focus regarding the BTC chart, it is nothing but our 3D time frame, okay? What we've been saying over the last few weeks or even like month is like, if whenever we get a negative crossover on our 3D MACD, we tend to basically get a massive dump. Our our basically November crossover right here, if you take a look at it, right, we call the top right there just about like a that's the BTC chart, right? So just about like a 60,000, right? We said be cautious, right? Because if we dump below the 3D 21 EMA, we could be pushing much lower. You take a look at it right here. Once again, we dump below our 3D 21 EMA, MACD cross negative, right? We dump all the way down to 25k support and push back up, got another rejection right here and dump all the way down to our June 18th low. So as of now, we do not have enough evidence like the 3D MACD going to cross negative. So bears can't get too confident and bulls can't be panicking. Okay, we just have to be very patient and all that good stuff to get the 3D MACD cross negative, to be highly confident. BTC could be retesting the monthly support. The monthly support we're looking for going to be the monthly 100 EMA, right? Just about like a 16k, and at the same time the monthly 100 SMA going to be at 12k. But once again, I don't expect like BTC to dump down to a 12k as of now. Okay, as you can see right here, most people have been bearish, including myself. I've been bearish on BTC even this September, but September is holding very strong. Okay, it is just about like a 20k. We opened the month of September right around like 20k, so we only down like what 1.5–2% after 2 weeks. So that's why we can just like be extremely bearish in this market, because sometimes it takes time to get those macro dump. Okay, I'm not saying BTC will pump to like 100k and all that good stuff, but all I'm saying is it takes time to break these macro support. As I said on a quarterly basis back in January, as I said, if we retest the quarterly 21 EMA, it could take like few quarters to break below the quarterly 21 EMA. And as you can see right here, after we retested it, like the end of Q2, you can see like we're still around the 21k plus minus 10%, and that's exactly what was our price when we were basically shorting from the 32k area. All right, so now let's take a look at BTC on a weekly basis, right? If we take a look at the BTC on a weekly basis, we're still not crossing negative on our MACD. Okay, but we can get a weekly MACD to cross negative without our 3D time frame basically to cross negative on our MACD. So that's why we can't just focus too much on the downside on the weekly unless we start a downside on a 3D basis. Hopefully it makes sense, right? But if for whatever reason, okay, we get some FOMO pump and all that good stuff, bears still have the weekly 21 EMA as a strong resistance right here. As of now, it is at 25, right? 25.4, give or take. Okay, 25.465 range. Okay, so if we get any sort of pushback up to create the flat correction, remember it is still going to be in range. Price action since when? Since June, guys, mid-June. It is still around the same exact level. So we're not seeing any new prices over the last 90 days. Okay, even if it goes back up to a 24, 25, or even up to 26, bulls cannot be moving on that pump. Okay, if we get that. Okay, and bears at the same time, if we retest the monthly 100 EMA, right here. Let's do this. if we retest our monthly 100 EMA, just about like a 16k, right? Bears cannot be basically FOMOing and try to dump it all the way down to 12k, because it could bounce back up to the 20s and all that good stuff. So just have to take it step by step over the next like a few weeks, especially closing the quarterly time frame. So it is very important, guys, to be very patient. Going into Q4 going to be pretty volatile. I said it at the end of Q2. I said Q3 could be very boring, just like Q1 right here. If you recall Q1, we started shorting like around like 55 and so on, right? The first week of December, right? The end of Q4 2021, okay, going into 2022, right? The first quarter of 2022. But you take a look at it, after we hit our target 37k area, it just moved sideways until basically April before we got the next dump downside. So Q3, it is nothing but a a replication of the Q1. Okay, it's not doing anything. So Q4 could be very volatile. So bears and bulls just have to be very patient for the next like a 14 to 15 days, especially after the Ether merge and all that good stuff, right? So talking about Ether, let's take a look at Ether on a 2D basis. We talk about it in our premium group, right here. It is still holding pretty strong. Bears are still holding pretty strong. The resistance trend line right there, right? Resistance was the first week of February. We got another resistance like the first couple of weeks of Q2 before the dump down to our target 5.5% and all that good stuff. Now the same exact trend line as of now, it is resisting the price action. So we will see if this time we got another negative crossover on our MACD on our 2D basis. However, price action looks like it wants to create a flat correction. You guys know I love flat correction, right? But the current market sentiment is not that bullish for me to be extremely bullish on this flat correction. It could be a a double tap or possibly even a triple tap, something like that. So if we get a temporary support, right, somewhere around like a 7%, right, and going back up to the 8.5%, it could just be a triple tap, okay, because we already got our divergence right here, right? We already got our divergence. Price action created high, another high right here. The first high was somewhere around like 8%, the second high 8.5%, and you can see your MACD on a 2D basis, it is still pointing down. Okay, the 3D basis, it is not yet completely negative, so we just have to be very patient. It just ticked negative, but we got to give it like a few days, because you got to think about it. The BTC, the ETHBTC chart, right, it moves very slow. Okay, so you can't just expect like a one tick right here to be to validate the downtrend. So just have to be very patient over the next like a few days and so on, right? So that's all I wanted to cover for BTC and Ether after the especially after the Ether merge and all that good stuff. Most people could be FOMOing, thinking like we might be going to 100k Ether and all that good stuff, but price action, it is still moving sideways over the last few months. Okay, let's take a look at Ether USD very quickly. So Ether USD, if you've been following our channel, we talk about the 1710 1950 being the primary resistance, secondary resistance, mid 2000 area. So just got rejected right here. It is not yet completely showing a reversal, because our 3D MACD, just like BTC, it is not showing yet a strong reversal pattern right here. So just have to be very patient. If we basically get the negative crossover, something like that to the downside, we could be looking for a macro support down to like our next pivot range, 1050 down to 950 area. Temporary support, 1350, 1250 area, right, depending on the volatility. The same range, it is at 0.618 to a 50% pullback at the same time, right? If you do a swing low to a swing high right there. So 50% pullback down to a 0.618 pullback, going to be at 1350 to a 1250 if you're short-term trading. However, if you're looking for a bigger swing, could just be patient down to the macro pivot point right around 1050 to 950 area. All right guys, thanks a lot for watching.